But I'm going to take over now, and we're going to start to talk a little bit about phased transition because time is flying, and the two key dates are there on the screen. Okay, you've got the 31st of March if your child is in year 11 and they're transitioning to post 16, or worth thinking about this if they're beyond year 11, so that's any age up to the age of 24, um, and they're in the final year of their course. So if they're 19 and they're doing a 1-year course or a 2-year course that ends at the end of this year, they will also be in phase transition. And the key date you need to have like circled reminders on anything and everything is 31st of March for you. For everybody else, it's the 15th of February, and that is really soon. It must only be 3 weeks away now. So that's for anyone who has a child with an EHCP who is moving into reception in September, into year 7, or is moving to a new school in the 3-tier system, or actually there's not many of them left in the country, but is moving from an infant to a junior school as well. And by that date, your local authority must have updated your child's EHCP to name their next school. You'll find 2 schools named. It will say in the plan, I don't know, so-and-so primary school until July 2025, so-and-so secondary school from September 2025. And they must do that by that date. And realistically, there's only 2 options I can think of when they name. And that is, number 1, you are happy with the school or college named, or number 2, you're not happy with the school or college named. And there are some other scenarios. It is entirely possible that your local authority might forget and you receive nothing by the 15th of February. If that happens, you do need to take action. Don't just sit and wait. And the best thing to do if that happens, I think, is post on the group. And we'll put some instructions out on the 15th of Feb for everybody. And we've got another transition drop in. We've got number 3 where we'll unpick that in a bit more detail. So we're working on the fact that a school has been named. And that you're either happy with it or not happy with it. We're working through those scenarios. It is possible that your local authority may name a type of school rather than a specific school. That's because they haven't actually found a specific school yet that says it can meet needs. So they've decided to name a type. And I would put that firmly into the I'm not happy with the school or college named category. If they've only named a type, not a specific school, you're obviously not going to be happy for that to continue. Okay, so we're going to unpick those 2 scenarios and think, now, what do I do when one of those 2 scenarios happens for my child? For most of you, this will be the scenario. You will be happy with the school place named. Sarah and I have been doing this a long time. We've done many phase transitions, and we know that most people are happy with the school place named. There's 2 different kinds of happy. There's the happy, ecstatic happy, and there's the happy, okay, it may be, yeah, all right, we'll run with it. It is what it is, happy. Either of those, you've just got to celebrate. It's a massive win. Phase transition is stressful, and it's a massive win. If you get to the end of the day on the 15th of February, the 31st of March, and you've got an EHCP that you think, yeah, this is good enough, we can give this a go, great. Remember, you have got an annual review process every year. If you try it and it doesn't work, you can call an early annual review. Annual review webinars will help you to manage that annual review process if that happens to you. Let's have a think about the other outcome then, which does happen, that you're not happy with the school place named. That might be because they've named a specific school that you're not happy with, or they've named a type of school. Even if you are happy with the type of school they've named, say you want your child to go to special school and they've put special school, but they haven't named a type, you still need to appeal. That is our advice. All right, that you need to, it's the only way to challenge. And yes, case officers will tell you things, especially if they name a type. Oh, it just needs to go back to another panel. Oh, it's going to take a few more weeks to sort it out. You've got 2 months to get your appeal in. And realistically, the spaces in special schools are full by this point, or certainly getting full. You haven't got time to sit around. It's absolutely fine. Local authorities can take this back to panel in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, whenever they fancy. You can get your appeal underway at the same time. Appealing does not stop the local authority doing anything.
And I think this is the best time to appeal if you're going to appeal, because it will be expedited.
Yes.
When you're at phase transition, this is a really good time to really tighten up this EHCP, because at any other time currently, we're looking at between 15 and 16 months for your appeal, with an appeal for at phased transition, it's expedited. You are going to get a fast forwarded appeal date. So this, if you're looking at any HCP and you're thinking, well, actually, it's not as good as it could be, or it's absolutely rubbish and this needs a huge amount of work, this is an ideal opportunity, given the current wait times for an appeal, to get your appeal in and get this done really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the myths is expedited appeals only if you're appealing school place. So you can't just use an expedited appeal because your child's in year 6 to improve B and F. You've got to be doing BF and I. It's got to have an I in it to be expedited, but absolutely it's the time. You know, you might come the 15th of February, it might be a real disappointment. After you've slept on it for a couple of days, maybe had a chat to some parents at the school that's been named, or, you know, the Senko maybe at the school that's been named, you might decide to give it a go, see how things go, and do that. You know, okay, I'm not happy with it, but I'll go with it, request an early annual review. But if you're not in that stage, then appealing is your only option. It is the only route. Only you can appeal, nobody else. And you need to get it in fairly quickly. By fairly quickly, within a month of the 15th of February. 31st of March, even quicker. I'd say within 2 weeks of the 31st of March. Absolutely. Because their transition appeals, they'll be heard during the summer term, but there's only so many appeal slots. And as they fill up, they get later and later and later. I mean, I've seen transition appeals come back for September, October, even into November, because parents have sat on the appeal and not put it in quickly. You can put in an appeal and then withdraw it. There's no penalty. There's no financial cost to that. So, you know, advice is get it in. If you're in any doubt, get it in.
Because you're remember that it's not just you, it's every other child in the country that is at phased transition who will be also at appeal.
Yeah. But you do, and this leads me on to, you know, you do need to remember that the tribunal can only follow the law. And the law says that parental preference must be named if it can meet needs and is no more expensive than any other school that can meet needs. So if you're appealing and you're going to appeal successfully, you will need to prove that either the local authority's choice of school can't meet needs, or your choice of school is no more expensive than the local authorities. And when we're talking about meeting needs in this context, we're not talking about what you know, or what the primary school knows, or the nursery knows, or what we as fellow special needs parents know. We're talking purely, needs are purely the provision that's in section F of the plan. If a school can provide all of the provision that's listed in F legally, it is able to meet needs. So that's why section F of your EHCP must be absolutely top notch. It's got to have every provision that child needs specified, and where appropriate quantified as well. There is no legal duty for a local authority to name a school that can provide more than is in their section F, or provide any sort of gold standard. It just has to provide what's in F, and that a tribunal will apply that rigorously. So if a section F is going to specify and quantify all the provision your child needs, section B must also detail all their needs. If there's a need missing, there won't be a provision for it, because as Sarah loves to say, section B plus section F equals section I. It's a process. If every need is named in B, and every need then has appropriate provision specified and quantified in F, then the finding the right school place is easy. The problems with school place happen when there's needs missing and when there's provision missing. So if a school is named in your child's EHC plan that you just know is not going to work, it can't meet your child's needs, you need to appeal sections B and F and I, not just I.
And the most important part of any HCP is not F, actually, it's B. In B, the Code of Practice states very specifically in 9.69F that there must be provision made for each and every need that's specified in B. So it follows that if the needs aren't in B, there will be no provision. And we all may know that our children have got needs that need to be in B, but if they're not there, as far as the HCP is concerned, they do not exist. And if they do not exist, there'll be no provision to be made for them. And if there's no provision to be made for them, you don't need to have a school that specialises in anything. But if you only ever do one thing, check your EHCP, cross-reference it, make sure it's worded to legality. This is the absolute lifeblood of your children's education if they've got special educational needs. And we can't stress that enough. You must make sure that B and F are absolutely, as Anna's just said, absolutely top notch, because if you don't, your child will be at a huge disadvantage.
Even in the right school, they're not going to get the
right
provision.
school.
Yeah. But a few more tips for you. If you are unhappy with the school place named on the 15th of Feb or the 31st of March, don't waste time with mediation. You will need to get a mediation certificate, but don't waste time with mediation. It will just delay the process. The local authority are not going to change their mind at mediation. If they were going to change their mind, they would have done it between the annual review and the 15th of Feb or the 31st of March. Appealing, I'm sure it will sound like a daunting process to you where you're sitting right now. And yes, I am not going to lie to you, it can be stressful, and it is time consuming, but it is absolutely designed for parents to navigate. There are so many people in our group who can support you. There's so many that have been there, that have been through appeal, that have done it, that will be there to give you some guidance, some support, hold your hand, give you that pep talk throughout. And we are incredibly experienced in appeals with 100% success rate for all of the families that we have supported through the appeal process. And we've got a lot of resources that will help you. A few of them are listed there. Check our blogs. We've got the first place I would go to if I was in your position is that blog. I'm not happy with the school place named in my child's plan. What do I do? It will talk you through a little bit more slowly what we've talked through tonight. We have a webinar to go with that. Help, I'm not happy with the school place named on my child's EHCP. It will hold your hand through making an appeal application. It will give you a massive resource bank. So it will give you example forms, template forms, everything you need to physically fill the form in and send it off. If you find that you're needing more support than that, some people do, a lot of people don't. But if you find you do, we offer bespoke support. And that can range from we run entire appeals for families. We don't do many of those because they're very time consuming. We only have a few slots for those, but we do run bespoke support appeals for parents and on behalf of parents. There are a couple of phased transition slots coming up, but there's not a huge number. But we do lots of other support for parents as well. I support a huge amount of parents with online meetings. We'll meet 3 or 4 times through the appeal process online. I'll help them understand the process. I'll help them figure out where they've got gaps in their evidence. I'll help them action plan. I'll support them with writing documents. Whatever it takes. It's truly bespoke support, and it provides whatever parents need in that moment. We also do other forms of bespoke support to fit around what families need. So don't worry.
And again, that's like Anna says, that's everything from identifying your reasons for appeal. Now that comes from an EHCP check, and everybody that has had a draft check or an EHCP check undertaken by us will automatically have an EHCP that is appeal ready, because we will have identified where your professional evidence needs to be cross-referenced into BNF. We would have identified where your EHCP needs to be amended to legality, and we would have added case law. That then becomes your reasons for appeal. Even just a legality check can make a massive difference, because it means your EHCP is enforceable. If your EHCP is full of coulds, would, shoulds, opportunities for, would benefit from, it's not enforceable. Anna is unbeaten at appeals. She's an absolute legend at appeals. But an appeal will only be as good as the evidence that you have. We have seen EHCPs that have gone through tribunals, not the ones that we've supported, but previously to us being involved, been through tribunal, and the EHCP is shocking. And that is because they just worked on the evidence they were presented with. Do not expect a judge or a panel at a tribunal hearing to do that work for you. You must ensure that you are presenting them with all the evidence for them to work with.
Everything that we talk about in the group, in our drop-ins, goes back to 3 support mechanisms to help you. Go back to the blog library. We've got some great blogs on how EHCPs should be worded. We've got a great blog on checking your EHCP. We've got 2 webinars to help you to check your EHCP thoroughly yourself. And we offer bespoke EHCP checking support. Pretty much everything we talked to you about, there are 3 places you can go for support. One of them free, back into the blog library or the group. One of them at minimal cost. The webinars, I think, are £15 each. So not a huge cost to access the webinars, and they really will provide you with what you need to do it yourself, or tapping into some of the bespoke support if you need a bit more.